Hey guys, so this video is a topic that is requested a lot, and that is about my natural birth experience. A few reasons I chose to give birth natural is, well, for one, the epidural. I wasn't comfortable with getting an epidural because basically I don't like needles. And I know everybody thinks that's weird because I have tattoos and I've had piercings and all that stuff. But, yeah, I just didn't like the idea of the epidural needle in my spine. Another thing is with the epidural, you're not able to be as mobile as you could be without an epidural. Therefore, your labor can progress slower with an epidural. Because being up and moving is, you know, it makes the baby. Because being up and moving helps labor progress. Another reason I chose to give birth natural is because with an epidural, you are more likely to have to get stitches. And the reason for that is that you can't feel what you're doing. So, I mean, if you can't feel what you're doing and you just, you're pushing out, then you're more likely to tear because, you don't know your limits. So, without an epidural, you can feel everything you're doing, which, isn't the best feeling at the moment, but you can feel everything you're doing, and it's just, I was scared of getting stitches. I was afraid of getting stitches down there. So that is another reason I did not want. Another reason I chose to give birth natural is because I know so many women who have gotten their epidural and afterwards, it ends up wearing off and they end up basically giving birth natural anyways, or it wears off to a point where they could still feel what's going on. So I just felt it wasn't worth it. Another fear, the catheter. I did not want that in me. And I know people are, like, I would rather take a needle over having to feel a huge baby come out of my vagina. But I don't know, that's just me. For me, it wasn't, the labor was not, I know some people probably think I'm crazy, like if you had a different labor than I did. But for me, it was bearable. It wasn't that bad as I think what my problem was, I expect the worst at everything. I expect the absolute complete worst. So whenever I actually come to the problem, I'm just like, oh, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Like, that happened, like, with everything throughout pregnancy, with morning sickness, with the glucose challenge, with everything. I thought the complete worst about everything, and I just expect everything to be horrible. So when it's, not what I expected, my mind prepared for what I was thinking. So in that case, it wasn't that bad for me. Another reason I didn't want the epidural is because I didn't want to poop on myself. I know I have all these fears, but I didn't want to poop on myself. You can't feel anything when you're all numbed up, so you're more likely to poop on yourself. And I know that's weird. Like, some people just don't care about that stuff, but for me, that's something that I did care about. Like, when I was in labor, I was complaining about my nail polish being messed up. So that's just some stuff that I was worried about. How bad did it hurt? Like I said, my labor was bearable. It felt like really, really strong period pains. But then again, I always had really bad periods. Like, I remember one time I thought I was going to die from period cramps. Like, I missed so much school, like, monthly because of my period. So, I was used to having that kind of pain, I guess. And it is kind of that kind of pain, but it's a little bit different. But for me, it was just, it was quick. Like, I would get breaks in between it. Like, it was, the peak of your contraction is the end. So the most painful part was, like, when it was ending, and then you get a break in between, and then you have another one. And if you could just make it through that most painful part, then, you're gonna get a break, and you're just getting closer and closer to having your baby. And that's how I thought of it anyways. So, that pain, it was painful. I'm not going to lie, like, it didn't feel good at all, but it was bearable for me. I didn't think that epidural was worth it. Now, pushing. That was a completely different story. As you saw in my labor and delivery video, the actual delivery video, which got deleted, even though I didn't show anything graphic at all, like my vagina wasn't showing because the light was so bright, it just showed him coming out a little bit. And then I cut that part where it did show my area. But that got deleted, so you heard me scream. Oh yeah, it hurt. Pushing was a totally different story. It was not like any pain that I've ever felt before. Basically, what it felt like to me, because I kept saying this, I kept saying, excuse my language, I mean, my grandma was here and she even understood, my fucking ass is gonna rip open. That's what I remember saying. And it felt like that's what was gonna happen. It's so much pressure on your butt area. And, you know, it just felt like everything was gonna rip. But I could feel that. So me not pushing through that, you know, is what caused me not to tear so bad. My tear was very, very minimal. It was just like a skid mark, he said, I guess, or however he explained it. But I can just imagine how, I can't even imagine how bad I would have tore if I was numbed up and like, I just can't imagine it. So yeah, it's pretty bad. And when the doctor puts his finger, they like swipe their finger around in there to, well, my doctor did, to help me stretch out a little bit more. And I was like, whoa, it hit his hand, which they didn't get on video, which I wish they would have, because like you guys missed a lot, or we missed a lot of funny stuff on video. But yeah, it hurts, but the thing is, pushing is the fastest part, and even pushing for me was an hour. But honestly, I did not believe them when they said it was an hour, because I did not feel like I was pushing that long at all. It didn't feel like that at all to me. I guess I was just so out of it. The moral of the story is, it hurts, but to me, it was all worth it. And I know people are probably thinking like I'm crazy and stuff, but I would definitely recommend natural childbirth. I definitely recommend it. I can't speak right now. I definitely recommend natural childbirth. Like, honestly, if I have kids again, which I do plan on having more in the future, far out, I will definitely give birth to them natural. And hopefully I have as great of a labor as I did with Stefan. But I am definitely going to shoot for that in the future. And another thing, I feel like Superwoman when, you know, people are asking me about my labor and I'm like, yeah, he was 8 pounds, 8.3 ounces, and oh, did you get epidural? Nope. Like, that just feels amazing, because all these people out here that are telling me like, you definitely need to get an epidural, and I was all for it until I did some research and, you know, found out all these facts and stuff. So yeah, to me it was all worth it, and I recommend trying it. And if you don't, if you feel like you're not able to do it, which I felt like I wasn't able to and I did, which is why it was such a goal for me to do, I recommend at least trying it. And if you just don't ever suffer, don't ever make yourself feel like you're suffering. If you're suffering, get an epidural, because it shouldn't be that way. But I recommend trying it. Alright, so if any of you guys have any more questions, never ever hesitate to ask me. Like it says on my page, I'm very open-minded and I'm willing to share anything with you guys. So go ahead and follow me on Twitter, like my Facebook for updates and pictures, and inbox me if you want to. Alright, bye guys.